Alrighty, so a lot to talk about today. I do want to talk about the final season and something that the producer Denise Huth actually had to say on the final season and the story and just certain things about the comics and how the final season really isn't going to be basing a lot of their story off of the comics. So I wanted to talk about that idea a little bit here. And yeah, I mean, we're 5 days away now until we get to watch the episode, right? And remember, I do plan on doing a watch party very, very late that night, like I guess early hours into the morning, right? Whenever it drops at like midnight or whenever the hell it's supposed to drop. But I guess first I should see when it's actually going to drop. Because what if it drops like on the Sunday, but in the evening and we stay up all night, Saturday night into Sunday morning for no reason, right? So I'll figure that out first and then I'll kind of see what's going on. But I think the watch party thing would be a really cool idea. This way we're watching it for the first time together, right? Like, I guess you guys are going to have like two screens going, one of me and I guess just seeing my reaction to it, because I'm not going to be able to have it on screen. And then you guys can also watch it on AMC Plus as well. And then obviously afterwards, I'll answer some of your guys' questions. We'll do a reaction. And then right after, I'll get into my review and I'll post it. And that review should be out very early in the morning that day. And it's going to be, Sundays are going to be really late, but I mean, that's just kind of the way it works, right? It's totally cool. And also another update on the podcast. That podcast is for sure going to be out tomorrow. Like, I've been so frustrated with it. And last night I was almost finished all of it. And this is why you got to save your work. Like, this is why you have to save when you're doing shit. I usually do, like with my videos, every like minute or so I'm saving. But last night, for some reason, I didn't think of it. I was ready to post it. I was editing all the audio and working on all that. And then all of a sudden, the power starts to flicker out a little bit. And then it just went out just like that. So yeah, I mean, that's all we've been dealing with for the last however long, literally, is we've just been dealing with the power going out constantly. And it is just, it's frustrating. If we could record during the day, it actually would be totally fine. But for some reason, it just, the world decides to storm at night. But anyways, I want to get into Denise Huth's comments here. And so before we go any further, obviously, if you are new to the channel, make sure to be a subscriber if you want more Walking Dead content like this. But let's get into her comment here, and this is on The Walking Dead season 11. This is what she had to say. One of the beautiful things about getting to adapt something is that the comic books will always be there. That story will always exist as Robert wrote it. But as you're doing a television show or a series based on that, and the fact that we've gone so many years, we're not in that early year headspace of, okay, we've got to do this, because we knew those moments that the comic book fans really wanted. It allows us a little bit more opportunity to breathe and introduce some storylines that aren't in the comic books, and that, I think, is always really exciting for us. There's no clear path. We always change things up. You know, this big thing is going to happen from the comics, but we'll probably do it a little differently, but with something like the Reapers, it's a complete clean slate. That's exciting for us and the characters because they don't know where it's going either. And I really wanted to talk about that because that is actually something that I was really wanting for the Commonwealth Arc. I really wanted them to get into that for the Commonwealth Arc because the comic material isn't the greatest at this point. I'm not really that big of a fan. There are certain aspects to it that I think worked out really well, but there's a lot of other aspects to it that weren't fleshed out enough, I don't think. A lot of stuff with the inner workings of the Commonwealth and some of the origins of the Commonwealth, a lot of that wasn't fleshed out the best. And I would say the same thing with the Whisperers too. If you think of the comics, we didn't get much of an Alpha backstory or anything with her and Lydia. You know, like there was literally nothing there. On the show, we actually go back and we see what Alpha was like as a mother, and we start to learn, I don't know if that was her stepdad or her real dad, but we learned about that relationship, and we see what it was like for them. And we also kind of saw the beginnings of Alpha and Beta. Like, that was completely absent in the comic. And so, you know, the Commonwealth Arc, I would say, was pretty similar in that way. There's a lot of stuff that I think should have been fleshed out a lot more. And I think like Pamela Milton's backstory, who she was beforehand. I think that would be really cool to see. Was she an actual politician beforehand? I want to know more about that. There's a lot there that I think that we could actually really get into here. And so that's why I'm really excited for them to go into material here that isn't from the comics and actually flesh out things a lot more. Because I think Angela Kang knows how to really do that well. And I think the biggest thing going for her is the fact that she's read the comics, she knows the comics, and she's a fan of The Walking Dead. She's been a fan for years. She's been a writer and whatever she used to do. I think she's just been a writer, but she's been a writer since like season 2, right? So it makes a lot of sense. I think that you add all those ingredients into the writer's room, and I think you're able to come up with something really amazing. And I'm really honestly excited for the final season to hear this here. I mean, the Reapers, yeah, that is completely original. And honestly, when I look at the Commonwealth arc, there's not a lot that happens in the comic. Like, there is some little things with like the writing and all that, but like, I won't spoil the bigger things that happen, but like, there's only like 4 or 5 things that really happen. And I'm like, are you really going to base your final season off of that? And I think you could, obviously, but I don't know if it would be as great. And so I think adding some more original stuff and just thinking about what these characters are. And I don't know who said that. There was some comment made not too long ago, but we have Daryl on the show who isn't in the comic. We have Carol who died in the comic during the prison arc, right? Michonne's not even on the show. Rick's not even on the show. Carl's not on the show. Like, the show is completely different from the comic. And so I think you can borrow the foundation of having the Commonwealth there. Pamela Milton, and we'll see if Sebastian Milton's going to be on the show or if he's been or the character's been changed or whatnot. We'll have to wait and see. But there's a lot that you can really do there. I think you can change the story based off of the characters that we currently have and what their story has been for the last 10, 11 years. I think you're able to expand that story and make it a ton better. And I think it really helps that you're able to look at the comic and be like, this is what works and this is what doesn't. Let's take what works and let's actually just improve on that. And whatever doesn't work, just completely throw it out in the trash, right? And that's the thing with the final season. And it is really interesting to think that that's kind of where we're at right now. Like, people are in this mindset of, obviously, they are excited for the final season, but you still have those 6 bonus episodes kind of on your mind. And it's the weirdest thing to be thinking about The Walking Dead, but I keep thinking about those bonus episodes because I feel like that's not an accurate representation of what the show actually really is, right? Like, I like the bonus episodes, I do, but they were boring. Like, I would say that all 6 of them, or no, besides Here's Negan, that one was great, and episode 17 I liked, but the rest of them were boring. Some were interesting and there was an actual good story there, but for the most part, they were boring. And usually The Walking Dead isn't that boring. I would say earlier on, like a few seasons ago, definitely, like certain episodes would not lead anywhere. Angela King has definitely changed that. Usually every episode matters. There's usually a point to every single episode. It advances something. And I mean, go back to every episode. Some type of big thing happens in all of season 9 and all of season 10. There's some big thing that happens. Either this character is going to go here now and do this, or this big thing's going to happen, or this plan is set in motion. There's this character reveal. There's always something that happens in every episode. And it wasn't like that in like season 6, 7, and 8. Some episodes back then were literally just them traveling to this location and they would encounter walkers and there would just be this whole emotional thing there, right? So I think that having those bonus episodes on your mind, especially because that's kind of where The Walking Dead left off. I mean, I think we're going to overreact a little bit to season 11's premiere in episode 2. I think we're going to watch those episodes and we're going to be blown away and excited by how good it is. And I still think it's going to be really good, but because we've just watched those bonus episodes, I think we're just going to be, like I said, overreacting a little bit because it's going to be something that we were already getting. And I also think in general, that the final season was going to be better than season 10, at least. I don't know about season 9, we'll have to wait and see, but at least better than season 10, just because of the darker tone. Maggie's returned, you have all these different aspects of the show that's back. The horror is now back in the show, right? So there's a lot of that aspect to it that's a lot of fun, and I think that no matter what, I mean, just based off of the trailer for Comic-Con, I mean, that trailer, it's weird because it doesn't really feel like a Walking Dead trailer. If you think about it, the trailer is really cool, but it's so dark. The colors are so black, like black and gray. It doesn't feel like a typical Walking Dead trailer. I don't even know what to really, because I think it's a lot shorter than in some of the other ones, so it kind of feels more like a teaser. But I mean, we're 5 days out now, or I guess 12 days if you're going to be watching it on TV. And again, I will be making a big deal when it does come out on TV. Like, yes, I will be posting a review earlier that week or the Sunday before, but I will as well be posting an episode 1, like very, very in-depth episode breakdown video. It might be very long, like 20, 25 minutes long, but we're going to go into every scene, every little moment. I'm going to like dissect the shit out of everything. And yeah, I'll post that on that Sunday. There's also some really awesome other things that I want to get into, but obviously I want to do this first, get that going, and then we'll deal with it then. But first, after this video goes up, I'm going to be working on the podcast to get that out as soon as possible. That is most likely going to be out like late tonight in the early hours of the morning, or like tomorrow morning for sure. Like for sure it's going to be done because there's no storm now. I'm literally looking outside, it's a blue sky. So unless randomly it decides to storm at nighttime, then yeah, I'll be pissed. But it's been storming for the last like 2 or 3 days. Power has been constantly going out. So I don't think we'll have those issues anymore. But yeah, I mean, this podcast is mega sized. It's definitely really huge. We talk about all of season 9, all of season 10. and give our predictions a little bit for the final season and go into that a lot. So yeah, definitely be hyped for it. It's a really huge podcast, and it'll be up very soon. And that kind of makes up, I guess, for the missing one Sunday because we're all sick that weekend. But anyways, post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.